Well, here we are on the banks of the White River here, just about up around Medora, close to Medora, Indiana. And this is supposed to be the longest covered bridge left in the USA. I think it was built in the 1870s. Recently had a new roof put on here a couple of years ago. I'll get down here closer to the river. Down this little boat ramp here. I think it closed the traffic in the early 1970s, but you can still walk across the bridge. The new bridge is just right behind it. You can see the new bridge piers right behind it there. I just wanted to get out today and go out and about a little bit. Too hot to sit in the garage and work on the radios. So figured I'd just come up here and take a little drive around today. It's just looks like up there used to hold insulators for electric going through. I seem to remember years ago, before they did the restoration, I think I remember old light bulb fixtures up there too, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure, I think they call that a spandrel arch truss or something like that. I could be completely wrong on that too, but I know they got some big old bolts holding it together there, those square bolts there. It's a good little walk across. And of course, if you get up to the edges of the bridge there, where you can look down, and we ain't up to the water yet, but there's the bank down there. You hear traffic going across the new bridge. Maybe it's a burr arch truss. That's what I was trying to think of. I can't remember. I'll have to ask the caretaker at the end down there when I go back. Well, I done passed over the river, hadn't I? I'm just about down to the end here now. Forgive my breathing, but it's powerful hot out here today. I think it's about 95. There's the soybean and corn coming up pretty good there. You see hills off in the distance. That's looking back towards the south again. See if I can get up here to abutment over here. Yeah. Yeah, there. Just thought y'all might like to see something different from me once in a while. So I get out once in a while and get a picture here and there. Yeah, there you can see the water flowing below. Well, now with this, there's not a whole lot to see. It being summertime, it's easier to see in the winter. But there used to be an old brick factory here, and those are the kilns for it. There's a bunch of them kilns back in them woods there. And I'll come back here sometime in the winter. There used to be a sidewalk going down the road in front of the place, but it's all but disappeared too. I don't remember when it closed. I know it's been over 30 years ago, but it's kind of a neat place. The place has been here and made bricks for, I know, over 100 years. Here we are coming up to the bridge right next to the old bridge here. Start heading back towards Salem now and pass by a couple more places. Now, Indiana, the reason most of Indiana is so flat is because the way it was explained to me back in school was that they had during the last big ice age, 20,000 years ago, glaciers covered a lot of North America, and in Indiana made it down to about this point here. And much further south of this is where it gets all hilly, but the rest of Indiana is just about flat as a pancake. You can see hills off in the distance up ahead of us there. And that's kindly to the east of us. If you turn the camera this way here, kindly off to the east-northeast, why it's just flat, and then of course all back through there it's just flat as a pancake. But we'll be turning due south here shortly. When we do, I'll turn the camera back on and you'll be able to see kindly better where the glacier ended. You see all that gray expanse off in the distance in front of us? Now we're heading south. And right where that big long gray line starts up there is where it gets hilly again, and that's where the glacier stopped. It just basically bulldozed most of Indiana here, and that all up in front of us is what piled up in front of the glacier, and that's the county line as well. Right now we're in Jackson County. We get up to that line there and hit that hill, we'll be back in Washington County again. Getting closer. You can see it pretty good up there now. They're raising a lot of soybeans back in here. Soybean fields on both sides of the road. Of course, make a liar out of me. Now we got cornfields on both sides of the road. Closer, just about less than half a mile from the county line now. Also right at the county line where this glacier ended, we crossed the Muscatatuck River. Muscatatuck River being the natural border of the county line. Stop because now we're going uphill. And it's a pretty good little hill. I've got to get some more Freon, or well, not Freon, but whatever passes for Freon nowadays, and put in this truck. The air conditioner will get cold, and then it'll start edging up and get warmer. Then it'll get cold again, and start edging up and getting warmer. Right now it's on a cold spot. But I believe it's going to need a recharge soon. Just about to approach the top of the hill here. Kinda. It's starting to level off, but we're still going uphill. This north end of Washington County, to me, has always been just about the most boring part of the county. Just miles and miles of nothing but miles and miles. I guess to somebody from the city it might be interesting and entertaining a bit or something. I don't know. But having grown up out in this area most of my life, or lived most of my life out here. I spent my childhood here in Kentucky and Tennessee. They were all pretty rural areas, except for when I was a little bitty kid living in Louisville. But like I say, I'm in this north end of the county. The highways, great big old curves in it, and don't see much traffic, and there's not a town, well, up all the way up until you get down the middle of the county back in Salem. There's a place that once was a town, a little spot in the road called Kossuth, but there's nothing there anymore. A couple of houses, but I'll go ahead and shut the camera down until I get somewhere with a little bit more entertainment value. Coming into downtown Pekin, Indiana now. town where I went to school, there's not much here. There's the old bank. I don't even know if it's still open or not. Across old railroad tracks here. There's the really, really old bank. And it's a butcher shop now. Main Street meets. Pekin post office. Really not much to see in this town, except for the bridge here on Main Street, which will be coming up not too long after we get around this curve. This bridge has been here since, I believe, the 1880s. Still open for traffic. It doesn't see a whole lot, I don't guess. Well, I guess it sees a few vehicles a day. That used to be a factory called Fabriform. They made jewel cases and video cassette boxes and stuff like that. Or it was Amaray, and now it's owned by Fabriform, and of course Fabriform went out of business. But here's the old bridge. Old wooden floored iron bridge. Here the other day, somebody photographed a bear on this side of the bridge, a black bear. It was reported being seen in court in Indiana last week, and it's made it up to here. It's somewhere around here now. I don't imagine we'll see it. I've heard that it's closer off to Daisy Hill now, which is a few miles further on down to the east here. Now that part of town that we were just in, for some reason, is called New Pekin. This right here, this little curve in the road here, and the little crossroads up here, well, the T in the road, I guess, is Old Pekin. Now, I don't know how much older you have to be older than New Pekin, but we'll go down this church parking lot here. I'm going to turn around. Back to the old bridge again, then back up towards the school. Then I'm going to head on home, I believe. Spent a couple hours out here driving about. Hadn't really went nowhere. Corner of 5th and Jefferson. I guess that bridge sees a lot more traffic than I gave it credit for seeing. This road seems to be getting a whole lot more traffic than I have ever seen upon it. Down here in the Blue River bottoms now. I guess if you was in England, you'd call this Pekin on Blue. Kind of like Stoke-on-Trent, this would be Pekin on Blue. Hear the boards flapping underneath the truck. All right.
Don't get out of the road. Make a right here by Right Ways. I remember when this old place here was a gas station and had pool tables in the back where you could shoot pool. It hadn't been opened in years. Looked like somebody doing something with it, but darned if I know what. I think this video is probably going to take all night to load onto YouTube. Now, I graduated high school 30 years ago, and this school was a lot smaller back then. The front end of it still looks basically the same. They added a new arch over the entranceway, I think, kind of like a half arch looking thing. But for the most part, it still looks the same in the front. But you can tell we are still in a fairly rural community here. They put in this little subdivision off on my left side here, oh, probably about 10, 15 years ago. So, the town is growing, but it'll never be a metropolis. The biggest building in town is the grain elevator at Sullivan's feed mill over there. Washington School Corporation. I remember when they built it back in 1982, they built the elementary school off over here. And that right there is the elementary school. But now, it's coming up here. Here we are, Eastern High School, Pekin, Indiana. And like I say, the school looks pretty much the same as it did back then. The only difference now is it used to say Eastern Junior and Senior High School. And now the junior high school is back in the back. I have not been through here in, gosh, oh lordy, at least 10 years. As I recall, the school building proper used to end right about here, so all this over here is new. A completely new entrance there. Well, they don't even call it junior high anymore. They got a middle school there now. Yeah, but this is all new to me. Looks like the old track is gone. I don't know what they've done with it. But here where this where this parking lot here is now, this used to be the track. For track and field. When I went to school, they didn't have a football team. And now they've got one, so I guess the track might be up there, behind the football stands over there. Well, ain't this something? I didn't even know there was a road that went all the way around the place. Never was when I went to school here. My goodness, I got cleared out a bunch of the woods back there and put basketball court back in the back. The place is just huge now. Was that a house down there or what? No, it's on the school grounds. Oh, okay, it's part of, they got part of the baseball field. They used to just have a little bitty dugout there, but bunch of tennis courts. They used to have one tennis court, but it was on the other side of the building, and heck, now it looks like they got 5 of them there. Big old greenhouse in front of the place for the FFA. My goodness. Place sure has changed. Back when I went to high school there, my graduating class had 79 kids in it. The entire population of the high school and the junior high school there, the entire student body didn't number over 700. I guess they must have gotten a lot more students there in the last 30 years. Well, that's news to me. I knew Pekin had grown a little bit, but my goodness, I had no idea that place had gotten so huge. Well, this will be the last stop on the way home. We're now coming into South Boston, Indiana. Don't blink or you'll miss it. They have a little Opry here every Friday and Saturday night in this building here on the right. The old weathered looking building there. Now, the South Boston store does not have a bathroom unless you count over here. Let me pull out the viewfinder here. There's the South Boston store's bathroom. The outhouse. Looks like the store's closed. I don't remember the store closing down, but I used to go there all the time when I was a little kid. I don't know when it would have closed. But you used to buy everything in that store. And I do mean just a little bit of everything. You get everything from gasoline to horse feed in that store. They sold shotguns, dungarees, socks and boots and groceries, and I mean it was a real general store. We bought parts for old Briar size in there, new handles for them where the old handle got broke out. And there was no coal stove in there. What they heated the place was with coal. And you could go in there back by their deli counter back in the back where that coal stove was and sit around the Cracker Barrel there. And I'd go in there and sit and listen to all the old men, all the old farmers swap tall tales. The owners of the store was Margie and Elgin Mull. Elgin used to tell me, he said back in World War II, he said he didn't see a whole lot, but he said he got into Germany and was going down a railroad track, and him and his buddy seen two Germans in a foxhole off the side of that railroad track. He said both of them took out a grenade and they threw them and they landed in that foxhole. When they did, them two Germans come up out of there and started just running away down the railroad track. He said beat all he ever seen. Well, I'm just about back home and the air conditioner has played out on this thing, so I want to shut this off and spool down the window because there hadn't been a shot of cold air come through this thing in almost 10 minutes and it's starting to get warm in here. This is Gary, signing off.